It's almost inconceivable that walls, properly designed, I'll go through those details, that walls can make you feel unrestricted. And at the same time, walls can also crush you. You got to get it right. Also, we found that people are more successful, they're clearer, they're more ambitious, they're energized, and they also have this feeling of being nurtured at the same time. They feel like the wind is at their back. They have something supporting them, and that's the support of nature. Also, what people have experienced is that when they walk into the building, is they feel this pressure off their chest. You know, stress is physical. It's crushing. And they feel this relief come over them. It's amazing that the built environment has been having these experiences on us year after year after year, generation after generation, and we may be finding solutions in the built environment to a lot of the problems we have created for ourselves. And as I said, we've almost had 600 to 800 people come through the building so that they truly understand what a green building is, because it has to be experienced, and it has to be experienced through their senses. And almost everyone who comes into the building says, there's something about this building that I have never experienced in my life, or there's some memory, or just some joy that they find is right. And the building naturally gives that experience. I can tell you I have many green buildings. I'm actually the largest developer of green buildings in the Washington, D.C. area, and have won every award in green. And I can tell you that green alone does not give this experience. And for businesses, what this means is that the building becomes an investment in human capital, which means it's an accelerator of human potential. And therefore, we now create these new concepts called return on rent, where space can actually become, where you can get a return if you make the right choice on human capital. And why is that possible? Now, this is the fun part. This is where we talk about math. This is what motivates a lot of people. Energy is about $3 to $4 a square foot in the building. Let's call rent $40, $45, just to pick some number. Payroll is $400 a foot. $400 a foot. This whole conference is about the $3. Brokers are all about the $45, getting the deal. What the deal is can I get a return on the $400 a foot that I'm putting out every year in payroll? And we're not realizing what we're gaining out of that $400. So now, therefore, with Vedic, we have this idea that we can actually, every day, the building is beginning to work for you, enhancing the output of that $400. Let's say we had very, very low expectations, and there was only a 10% improvement in the productivity of people who have this kind of spirit to come to work and to stay at work. 10% of $400 is $40, which is basically the cost of the rent. So therefore, that expression, you get what you pay for, is absolutely true. And start multiplying that by every business in America or all over the world.
Yeah, the Pentagon study actually showed that the whole Pentagon renovation paid for itself within 2 years, which was about 5 minutes per person per day, simply by changing absenteeism by 2%.
Right. And this is very important. If you elevate human psychology, if you make people happier, they're less inclined to get sick. In America, we spend $2 trillion a year, every year, on responding to sickness. Where I come from, there's been a lot of talk about $789 billion fiscal stimulus packages. One time over the next 18 months, we're going to spend $789 billion, and we're spending $2 trillion every year. Do you know how much $2 trillion is? I have to divide by 365, with number of days in a year, and then I divide by 24. Then it means something. So if you do the math, it comes out to about $219 million an hour. There is no fiscal stimulus package to make us healthy. And that's why there's green, because it's affecting the environment as well as the inner environment. When you add Vedic, you're elevating, you're allowing the person to get through life easier. And it's the stress that wears us out, that tires us, that debilitates us, and stress changes us. That's why we change. That's why we begin to think that we have such limitations. So I think it really shows you that we're now learning that architecture can actually sustain our aspirations. And when I grew up, that was my concept of buildings. Buildings were about architecture, which I love architecture, the beauty of architecture. But to me, buildings were about people bringing aspirations inside your building. In order to fulfill those aspirations, you have to fill the space with people to fulfill your business. That's why we rent office space, for people. Now, some people call that a fully leased building. And that's what it is. A fully leased building is a building filled with people. To me, I saw the purpose of buildings, or anything that we build, is bringing people together and seeing if I could build a building that would enhance the success of that company and allow those people to be more successful and therefore lead more enriching lives.
So what's unfortunate is that the passionate developer like Jeffrey's doesn't really exist in this country anymore. We're run with REITs and institutional funds and things like that. So we have to somehow get that passion into that.
Right, and I think that's why we focus so much on education. We found that by doing it and telling people that it can be done is a combination that's quite rare. And I've been very lucky. There's Elizabeth Oliver Farrow who's here, who's handled all our public relations for the last 6 or 7 years. I can tell you that we have been in every major newspaper in America. We've been on radio, we've been on television. There isn't anybody who doesn't call us, and that's because of Elizabeth's passion, because she believes that this is the way to really improve America and really touch everyone. So I know that we're running out of time, and I was going to go into all the principles behind Vedic architecture, but may I just suggest, since you all are computer savvy, just go to the vedicarchitecture.com, I believe it is, or .org, anyway, it'll come up. Vedic is V-E-D-I-C. This is being incorporated in our building. It can be incorporated in houses, and it can be incorporated in whole communities, so that we really are fulfilling this idea of ending poverty, ending crime, really improving every aspect of our lives. And then I think as a builder that this is what I want to see built in America. We have to combine the great intelligence and knowledge that we've learned about how to really use nature to help us and to allow nature to really harness us, to really make us more successful and more supportive inside that environment all the time. In our schools, in our libraries, in the places where we worship, where we work, where we sleep. That's the kind of city that I want to build, and that's the kind of city that's really going to be that rising tide that's going to increase the deservability of in any country, where we want to make change, where we're not going to hold back change. And then I think we really created heaven on earth. Thank you very much.
Thank you.